just like any other business. Business needs to grow. And you got to find a ways that you can grow your business. Some of the key lessons is that build a strong team. As I said, teamwork is key. And then good ideas comes from all people and everywhere. So in order for you to grow, involve your employees, involve the people. You know, in Global OSS, we had teams, and small teams discuss about the next thing for us, the next things for us for next year, and so on and so forth. Ideas that it comes. So ideas does not only come from you or your managers, but idea comes from all your team members. And also, in order to grow, in order to differentiate yourself, you need to be a leader in the market that you serve in. For example, you define a specific market, and that market, you are the leader. You cannot be everything to everybody. You know, when you're small, you got to be focused. In my case, I said, okay, I want to start something that does monitoring system. Okay, start with monitoring system. That's what you do in life. Day in, day out, just focus on what you do best. And another thing I want to mention, as I said mentioned earlier, is self-confidence. I find that many Malaysians, even young graduates that we hire into the company, lack the self-confidence and lack the ability to communicate. And this is something that you need to learn. It's not a derogatory remarks that I want to put here, but I want to say that, you know, all of us has something in us. All of us can do something, and I really believe that Malaysians are good people. And everywhere I go, you know, people hire Malaysians. You know, Singaporeans companies like to hire Malaysians. First, because they are cheap. Second, because they are smart, right? But we are good people everywhere we go. I know all my friends are working in China. They are doing extremely well in China, and we can do great things. You know, one of the most successful companies that you know, Asia in Malaysia, a Malaysian company, doing very well in Asia. So we can do something significant. You know, for the nation building also, if you want. Okay. One thing I want to mention about growth also that is not here is that the growth of the company heavily depends on the people that you have. Because, you know, a company is built out of team, and the people are not ready for growth, then the company may die. In fact, most companies die of, we call it over digestion than starvation. You know, I remember that very well, because many companies fail because too much business and cannot cope with the business versus starvation or not enough business. So when you grow, it has to be a controlled growth. It has to be a growth that is controlled by you, depend on the speed of your team. So I remember at one point, I wanted to grow so fast that my team could not catch up. So by the time I get all the businesses, I look back, nobody can deliver the projects, and we spend the next 2 years, a year and a half or so, just delivering the projects, and then the business kind of suffers for a while. So the fact is that you have to grow at the right pace. Grow too fast is a problem. Growing too slow is also a problem. And the other thing about growth is that you need to give opportunity for your employees to grow. Because if they cannot grow, they cannot be you long term. You start a business for long-term business, right? And in our case, Global OSS, for example, all our managers and our leaders are within the company. So we start from ground up. So right now we have about 7 managers, and that 7 managers are all from the bottom. They start from the bottom and grow up, because they have the character, they know your vision, they know your character, and so on and so forth. I'm not saying that hiring outsiders are not good, but hiring outsiders is good to inject new ideas. But too much of outsiders, you have a problem in trying to manage them, because different people come from different culture, different thoughts, different process. So you have to build strong. That's why I said build deep. Build deep is building your own management team from the bottom up. Another point is about leadership and core values. The greatest asset, as I said, is your vision, right? As a startup. The second greatest asset is you as a leader in the company. Right? If you are a good leader, you can motivate, you can group of team that to achieve a specific purpose. So build your leadership skills, with your friends and so on. There are 5 levels of leaders, and I'm going to read out here. The first level is that people follow because they have to, simply because they are their boss. That's the first level, right, of leader. People follow because they have to. The second level of leaders is that people follow because they want to. That means you have done something nice. They want to follow you. That's the second part of the leader. And the third part of leader is that people follow because of what you have done for the organization. So they look at you, okay, you have done something great for the organization. The organization is growing, and that's the third part of the leader. And then the fourth part of leader, or the fourth stage of leader, is that people follow because of what you have done for them personally. And this is the level where I think all of us should strive towards being a leader. When you have a small startup, they want to follow you because what you have done to them. In the case of my managers, or my leaders, they are early part of my team when I first start up. And they follow because of what I have done to them personally, professionally, career-wise, and also monetary. All of us grow together in monetary terms. But the fact is, we have done something to them, and they follow you because you have done something to them. And of course, the final stage is number 5, is that people follow because of who you are. Of course, you're a leader because you're just a leader. And people just follow who you are and who you represent. But as an entrepreneur, what you need to strive for is a stage 4 leader. Stage 4 leader means you do something for your staff. And being a leader is not about being boss. Being a leader is about being a servant sometimes to your team members. So sometimes we call it a servant leadership. So in a way you serve your employees, you serve the customers, you serve them as best as you can. So instead of looking at a triangle, you should look at a triangle upside down, where you are at the bottom and the employees at the top. So you need to serve them, because as an entrepreneur, you have nothing except for serving. Unless you have tons of money to provide. So you have to go alongside with your team members to start up. So when I started Global SS, for example, many years ago, the team was very inexperienced. I used to run a large organization in Agilent and HP, but when I start a small organization, the team is inexperienced, and I just have to have patience and build them up and teach them from the bottom up and go. Unless I do that, the company will never grow, right? So the focus is on the substructure, building the team. Another point about servant leadership that I want to say is that, talk about serving someone. I had a situation where we were growing well, and then I decided to hire an external manager. There was a vacant position. The people in the organization were not ready for that position, so I had to hire an outsiders. So I hired outsiders, pay him a good amount of money, and he came in, and he was not a leader that serves. He is the boss. So he came in as an outsider. What he knows as being a leader or being a boss is that I'm the boss, you are the employee. You report to me, you do what I say, right? So he came in and he was self-serving, and he was bossy at the same time. And in the interview, you can't tell, right? So then what happened was that one by one, all of my key staff that I built from ground up began to leave. And that was the saddest part of my life in the company, because you build from scratch. You build from scratch, and you build the people, and people with you, and you bring in outsiders in, and then outsiders kind of quote unquote destroy the culture of the company. And you got to be careful. That's what I said. You got to be careful having someone outsiders, and if they are not in line with what you want to achieve, then he destroys. I remember one of the employees, early part of the employees, he has been doing extremely well, and he was reporting to this new manager. He came to my room and he cried, tears. He said, I love working for you, but what you have done for the company have destroyed your company. So I couldn't understand. Why was it? Because he was saying that the leaders that you hire completely destroys the culture that you have built and you have strived all this while. So that was a mistake that I had sometimes. So he says, I tried to very hard to retain him. He says, no, it's too late. I'm moving on. He's moving on to Huawei and working for Huawei and doing very well in Huawei now. But the fact is, leadership is you and also the people that you bring in. So it's important that the leaders bring the right character into the organization, and that was the biggest lesson for me. And so on. So some things that I've learned is that get the right people to manage for you, and then you lead more, manage less. You are not managers, you are leaders. So I remember there was is here, right? Jack Welch says, a good business leaders create vision, articulate the vision, passionately own the vision, and relentlessly drive to completion. So he used the word business leaders, not business managers. Because managers, the person that I hire outsiders was a manager. He wants to be the boss. He wants to manage everything. Instead of inspiring, instead of leading your team moving forward. That was a mistake, as I said. Creating a learning culture was important in your leadership skills. Driving for new things and innovations. For example, we just recently got a contract with Singtel, a Malaysian company. Competing with multinationals. I remember we are competing with. Right now we are competing with companies like HP, IBM, Nokia, Siemens, Ericsson, and so on and so forth. We win most of the time simply because we are focused and simply because we do well in the areas that we compete in. So we drive for new things. LTE is a new technology. Drive towards new technology. Drive towards new innovation in your company. As a startup, be less formal. Build a team. Okay. Just 2 more points, and then we talk about the question and answers. Quality and speed of execution is important. We need to go fast in our decision making. I want to say that quality and speed is the third asset of a startup company. So we're going to finish soon. It's not quality or speed. It's quality and speed in order for you to win in the marketplace. Partnerships is important because unless you build a strong partners in the ecosystem. So I see ecosystem is because you are part in a larger community in the working place. So you need to build your networking well enough such that you are interconnected to the ecosystem of your industry. And if you are interconnected to the ecosystem of the industry, chances are you can be successful and sustainable, right? Okay, so working with suppliers, for example, you pay in time. Sometimes people hold back payment, but in my belief that you have to pay, according to your contract. Train your partners, train your suppliers, and so on. And the final point for me was that I remember this is the final point. It's a bit strange here because I remember when Idris Jala was the CEO of MAS. You remember Idris Jala? Yeah. Now he's the head CEO of Commando, the Commando, right? And he started off trying to transform MAS. And you know what he says? There are 6 things that he wants to do. The first thing is game of the impossible. Second thing he said was that anchor everything on P&L. Third thing he said was that there has to be a discipline of action. That means execute, execute, execute. Fourth thing he said was that you need to have the situational leadership. That means you have to lead based on situation. And then the fifth thing he said was a winning coalitions. That means find a win-win partnership, as I said, ecosystem just now. And then the sixth thing he says was a divine intervention. And he says 40% was in our control, 60% was not in our control. In my case, sometimes he does. I'm a Christian. I believe in God, of course. But there was this scenario in my journey of a company where we are running cash trap. We were running almost zero cash. I was running at 10 people then. 10 people, if the average salary is 10K, you have to pay 100K a month. I was running almost zero. So very little left to go. And when I look at my funnel, I look at my business funnel, the next earliest deal was 3 months, or 6 months down the road. And the cash in the company was zero. So next month, I will not be able to pay for my employees. I'm not sure if my employees will be ready, without pay for the month. Maybe can. Second month, I'm not so sure. So what you do is that, I begin to, start withdrawing all the possible money I have, put in the bank in preparation to, to pay the salary of the employees because the company cannot afford to pay anymore. And of course, when you push the wall, what do? Pray lah. You have nothing to do. So true and true, the next month, we got a grant from the government, which we have never even imagined. We applied for it 3 months ago, and I discounted that. And then MDEC came in and says, no, I'm going to give you a grant of 1 million ringgit to build a product, which I've never thought. I discounted that away. And it came, we redeploy our staff, build the company, and then from then on we grew from strength to strength and to about 20, and then of course targeting to 30 million this year of business moving forward. But at the end of the day, I want to say that, I want to say here is that, to begin a journey is about you. It's about you personally, about taking the initiative and also taking the desire to be an entrepreneur. Think long term, not short term. Build now. Whatever you have, build, and then you can multiply it manifold in the future. So you can grow. So again, thank you for listening. And if there's any questions, feel free. Thank you. So in case you want to contact me, this is my email address. Don't spam me, by the way, so if you want to contact me in any case, any advice, if I have time, I will not promise that I will answer all the emails, but whatever you have, you can send to me. Or if you want to work for my company, by all means, join us for a few years and you can start your own company. Yes, any questions? Okay, the question was that I was mentioned about partnership and ecosystem, and I say train the suppliers. So the question is, what do I mean by training the suppliers? Suppliers is part of your things that you bring into your organization, and then you add value, build, and then you sell to the customer, right? So in order for you to build added value to your customers, you also have to train your suppliers to build something that is suitable for you. You have to influence your suppliers. Hey, if you have this feature in your product, then I can build a better product for my customer, for example. So you train your suppliers, you educate your suppliers, and the suppliers, listens to you, then you can be a leader in the marketplace. So that's one of training your suppliers. Another thing I mentioned was training your partners. That means the partners that sells for you, right? They have to know what are you selling, and therefore they can sell for you. One example was that we had a partner in Indonesia. We train our partners to sell our solutions and our services. Every year we train them. We invest and we train them so that they can represent you in